Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Nikita and I bring useful tips and tricks that can help you take a step closer to the industry. In the previous video, I shared tips on making your resumes ATS friendly and a checklist that helps you ensure that you're not missing out on the critical steps that can help you either get shortlisted or rejected in the job application process. I know it's too much to ensure while just you're submitting your resumes, but trust me, these are crucial steps that decides if you can get an interview invite with an organization. If you missed watching that video, I'm linking that in the description below. Go watch that video after this video. But in today's video, I will be sharing more about how you can write high quality professional summary as well as how do you write impactful statements talking more about your work experience. And if you're freshers, I have also shared some tips on how you can still make your resumes impactful enough that makes you a strong, suitable candidate in the company that you're aspiring to apply for. So, without any delay, let's get started. By the way, if you're enjoying this video series, ensure that you've subscribed to my channel and drop as many comments in the comment section below. That definitely motivates me to bring more such useful content for you in the future. Let's get started.
So now what we'll do is let's make this more engaging. We will be drafting resume sections together. The first one is professional summary. So when you actually start your resume, right below your name, your email address. Now, firstly, I hope nobody has a fancy email address on their resumes like coolguy@gmail.com or something. Okay. I hope you have very formal email addresses. And if you don't and you are like using one of the email addresses, which is very funny, like mine, I use nikitag500@gmail.com. Now, many people ask me what this 500 is. Trust me, when I was creating my own Gmail account more than decades ago, I had two options, nikitaji500@gmail.com and nikitaji1000@gmail.com. I chose 500 because 1000 rupees notes were getting banned at that time. It was period of demonetization. So I don't have any logic, but then this account is used very commonly. I actively check my emails on this account. So I don't want to change that. But then what I do is I just hyperlink my email address wherever I need to add my email address. So people don't wonder why I have a fancy 500 against my email address. All right. So once you have added your name, your email address, your LinkedIn link, your GitHub link, all are techies here, right? And you all are applying for technical roles. So in your header section, you would start with your name, which is big enough, but not as big that it covers 3/4 of your first page. It should be in the font size 12. And if you wish, you can make it 14 as well, but 12 to 14 is the maximum I would suggest for your names. Under that, you can add your email address, your contact number, your LinkedIn link, and your GitHub link and Medium or any other social platform link if you're actively talking about work there. If you have, let's say, a social media account, an Instagram account, and you feel like you have 2000 subscribers or like followers there, please don't add that because that's your personal account and you don't need to share that in your resumes. But let's say you have a YouTube channel where you actively talk about tech and you have good number of subscribers there, and if you, even if you don't have, but you have a channel with X number of videos there, no harm in adding that because that will showcase that you are comfortable speaking in public and you like sharing your knowledge in public forums. Once you've added your header, which means your name, your contact details, and other preliminary information, then comes your professional summary. So right below your header is your professional summary, and that's your elevator pitch. For example, imagine I am hiring for my organization and I ask you to explain me in maximum of 3 lines about who you are. That is exactly what you add in your professional summary. And the formula that you will be using is that I'm highlighting on the screen is you start with your background. Oh, sorry, not this one. You start with your background. Then the key skill or the strength you feel you have aligning to the job description that you are planning to apply for and what you are seeking while you're applying for that particular organization. You can take a note of this particular formula because we are going to use this in the subsequent section. Start with your background, then the key skill or the strength that you have, and then what are you seeking. So let's look at this example. This is something I made for a fresher, but obviously those who are experienced can tweak using this reference. Recent computer science graduate with hands-on experience in Python and machine learning through 3 academic projects. Strong analytical mindset with passion for turning data into actionable insights. Seeking a junior data scientist role to contribute to data-driven team. Is this more impactful than what you actually have in your resumes right now? Just be honest. Like, do you think this is more impactful as you hear about a candidate who's applying for a company? Right. So it starts with my background, which is like a computer science graduate with background with Python, machine learning, so on and so forth. And the academic projects that I have completed as a computer science grad. Then I have said that the key strength I have is analytical mindset with passion for turning data into actionable insights. And what I'm trying to seek is I want to become a data scientist and contribute to a data-driven team. I see there is a question in the chat. Before we move, but from last comment about keyword, if someone is transitioning into AI ML roles, how should they balance resume customization across different JDs without rewriting the entire resume each time? So Dhanvantari, if you really care about applying for an organization and you think that you want to hear back from them, using AI, I don't think it's a lot of effort to tweak your application based on the job description. It's matter of one command and few edits after you review what AI has given you. But understanding what you need to validate after AI creates that draft for you is something that is a small effort, I feel we all should invest in, provided we really care about getting in that organization. Do we also need to quantify impact in summary for experienced one? Yes, Monica. So the way, sorry, uh, the way I would be writing this if I were, if I were an experienced professional is how many years of experience I have. For example, around 10 years of industry experience with project management, with technical program management, community management, through various organizations. I can highlight the organization that I work with if that is like, a strong impact that could have on your next company. You can also skip that. Not always you need to flaunt what organization you worked with. You can always skip that, but you can talk about how many years of experience you have and in which domain when you talk about background as an experienced professional. Then your key skill or strength would be like, for me, it's communication. For me, it's project management. For me, it's like deriving data from a lot of like bringing in insights from a lot of data. So that will be my key strength. And what I'm seeking, whatever role I'm aspiring for from the current role that I'm transitioning from. Cool. We'll just take a pause. I'll try to answer the questions and then I'll move on to the next section. How do we know if my resume passed the ATS and later get email like we will not be moving forward with your application as the position level does not follow the progression of your current position? Does this mean my resume was not crafted well? So Monisha, this is a good question. So imagine you applied for a company, let's say you applied for Uber. A few days later, you heard rejection for your application. And if it clearly says that it did not follow the progression of your current position, it means that your skill sets did not match with the qualities that the company was trying to actually shortlist for. It clearly gives you a reason. Most of the companies will not give you a reason as well why they did not shortlist your applications. But a lot of times, if you see, you hear rejections very quickly. Very quickly. Like, I know a friend who's actively trying to apply for various companies, and he hears a rejection in sometimes 30 minutes to 1 hour. And that's where you know that their application did not get through an ATS, because not always the recruiter is going to just sit with their laptop open as if it's stock market analysis and they're going to reject or like continue with an application. So that's the point, you know, that ATS rejected. Now, obviously, 95% of the companies don't share why your application was not shortlisted. Unless you really can get in touch with the recruiter, try to understand what are the reasons that did not make you a good fit. But sometimes it's intuitive enough as well. You look at the job description, you look at your resume. If you think they are talking two different words, then definitely there are good chances your application was rejected because there was a gap in what you communicated versus what the company was trying to hire for. Having a date of birth in Gmail is considered unprofessional, just the date, not the month and year. I don't know why the recruiter would come to your Gmail date of birth and how do they have access to that? If you could clarify that a little bit, Ajitesh. Yeah, I mean, 27 is not always your date of birth, right? Like, for example, for me, it's 500. 500 is not my date of birth. But I already mentioned, if you're having those awkward things in your Gmail and you don't want to change that, given you've been using that account for quite some time, no harm in masking that as a hyperlink on your resume. Otherwise, just create a new account and use that if you think it's creating awkward scenarios for you. Yeah, 27 is fine. Why not? Not always you will get that like, you know, unique Gmail account. You will always have to use numbers in your Gmail account, so it's okay. So yeah, I mean, just highlighting what I mentioned, you start with your background. So three components you have when you create your professional summary: the background, the key skill sets that you have, and third is like, what is it that you are seeking for in the company that you are applying for. So this formula is for your professional summary. Now, what I want you to do is create a blank document. Start with your name and important information. Just copy from your existing resumes and then use this box. Like, just use these placeholders, copy this in your blank document and add these three boxes in your boxes or placeholders in that blank document: background, key skill sets, and what you're seeking for in the, what you're aspiring for in the organization you're planning to apply for. Just keep this with you. We'll come back to this section later. So the next one is, after you add your professional summary, there will be three things: your skills section, education, projects, and internships. For those who are experienced, a quick show of hands, how many of you are experienced professionals in the room? Okay, we have quite some professionals in the room. For those of you who are experienced professionals, you will start with skill sections, but park your education till to the end, because once you have company experience, that's what recruiters care more about than your education background. And definitely projects and internships is your work experience that you will be talking about. So the sequence for freshers will be skills section, then your education, and third is your projects and internships. For those who are experienced, your skills is still the same. You start with your skills after your professional summary, and then comes your work experience. Have those placeholders on the blank document that I suggested you to have, because we're going to craft each of these in the subsequent sections. Okay, a few things I just wanted to quickly call out in the skills section is your skills should be clean, scannable, and a list. So how you add your skills is, a lot of times I've seen people add a bulleted list. Sometimes you add it in a table. Sometimes you want to, like, you know, just place it here and there, but categorize your skills and also place them in a list format. Now, what I mean categorization is, you may have some communication skills, you may have some technical skills. And when I say communication skills, please do not say that communicating to people is your communication skill you're talking about. Unless you know how business communications happen and you've done that in your past experiences, like you've created some meaningful reports, insights, documents, that is communication section that I'm talking about. But apart from that, your technical abilities, like if you know Python, SQL, Excel, then categorize those in your technical skill sets, and then your non-tech ones are like communication, teamwork, and these should be very minimum. I would had only one or maximum of two in the non-technical section. Really, I mean, weightage should be more about your technical skill sets that you've acquired. And for all those freshers who are listening to me, please don't add HTML and CSS as two different skill sets. HTML is like good to know, but if you know CSS, it comes by default that you know HTML. The third thing is, please do not rush towards adding a lot of technologies that you know. You can add as many, like, C, C++, Python, Java, whatnot, what more. But unless you're confident talking about those, using those, and writing complex algorithms, please do not boast yourselves in your resumes. It gets very difficult when you come in the interview stage. In the education section, if you're a fresher, this is what carries most of the weight. You can also add your GPA if it's above 7 or 3.0, and you can list your relevant coursework, academic projects, and anything else that you have done being a student of the given organization. Thirdly, it's about projects and internships, especially for freshers. For experienced, I will have a detailed section talking about how you add your work experience. But for freshers who are listening to me right now, this section will make or break a fresher resume. So for those of you who wonder what you should be adding in your resumes as freshers, you don't have enough to talk about in your resumes, then the projects and the internships that you have done is what counts for. So you would be talking about what you did in your internship or what you did in your project. Even if it was a mandate academic project, you can talk about it, but talk about what you did, not what the project was about, what tools and skills that you used to make that project happen, and most importantly, what the outcome was. Now, even if it was an academic project, talk about how many users use that application, or for how many users you designed that application, build that application for. If you built even a website for fun, a hobby project, that also counts. If you're a fresher who is applying for different companies and things you don't have enough in your portfolio, these are the things that really help you. All right, now let's try to help in the experienced people in the room. But before that, I want you to take not more than a minute to write your professional summary. Remember, we created those placeholders for your professional summary. I want you to complete that by taking a minute and adding your professional summary. Keep in mind the job description that you had shortlisted. Customize your professional summary, keeping that in mind. I don't want to hold.
Nikita, I had a question.
Sorry, Ajitesh, you were saying something?
Yeah, so I have worked as a general PM, not like a technical project manager or something. So my skills are not, I don't have hard skills like Python or anything. I have communication and those things. And you have mentioned that one or maximum two hard skills, soft skills we should mention. So
So
I'm
you're
not getting
aspiring
what to mention.
technical roles or non-technical roles, Ajitesh?
Yeah, working as a project manager, but I don't really work on like, I don't do the technical stuff. I just coordinate amongst team and get the delivery done.
Got it. But you do project management for technical projects, right?
Yeah, telecom. Right now I'm in telecom. Previously I was in pharmaceutical.
Right. So, I mean, at least an insider from Google is if you are applying for, or if you are aspiring for a TPM role at Google, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon kind of companies, at least from where I have received interview invites from, they usually look at candidates who have technical skills, because if it's a TPM role, it requires a lot of technical understanding and also, technical skill sets that help a person successfully sail through in that particular position. So it's important to talk about your technical skills if you have any. But then there are a lot of organizations who clearly shortlist candidates for project management. In that case, project management itself has a lot of skill sets per se that you can talk about. Like you have Jira, You have project tracking. Jira is used for project tracking, but yeah, you can also talk about Excel sheets if you use those for your project management. Any other tools like BI, Power BI, or anything else that you use for project management, you can talk about those.
Okay, okay.
Yes. I see a couple of hands raised. Are those for questions, or you're done and you've raised your hands for those?
I have a question.
Okay, okay. Rashmi, okay, only Nitin. Okay, yeah, Nitin, go ahead.
Yeah, so my question is related to specifically Google. So I applied for certain roles like engineering analyst roles and then senior data scientist roles. So I have seen on the career page of Google, some most of the time, like the rejection comes within that day. So is it something which is like ATS is rejecting altogether, or is it like the recruiter is rejecting? Can I understand from which angle it is coming?
Mostly, if it's a same day rejection, then it means that I mean, Google is a company which receives hundreds, if not thousands, of application per job role. And if you're hearing rejection on the same day, most likely the chances are that your application was rejected by ATS itself.
Oh, okay, okay, got it.
Uh, and what about if we hear rejection after a week?
Oh, now that is like you're asking me as if I am a HR in an
No, no, no.
organization.
Okay. Just actually, I had applied and I had received rejection after 1 week. So that's why I
Yeah,
was asking.
I really can't comment why your application is getting rejected. I am not a recruiter or an HR,
No,
so
no. I just wanted to understand if I am getting rejection after 1 week, at least I can be convinced that my resume was in good format, it is friendly, and all those things.
try a few things. I'm sure in the last 1 hour you heard something new that you may not be doing in the past. Try a few things, and maybe with time, you know. There are a few more things I'll share why your applications don't get selected towards the end
Mhm.
of the session. But try a few things that you learned newly, and maybe those are a few reasons why your applications don't get through. I mean, other reasons why your applications don't get through is sometimes someone else had a stronger portfolio than yours who got shortlisted. Sometimes an internal hire gets shortlisted instead of you. Sometimes it's the job location that you're trying for. Maybe you're in Hyderabad and you're trying for a role in Bangalore, or it's a cross country role that you're applying for. In those cases, candidates from the same location are given higher preferences. Beyond that, it's also about the exact skill set match. A lot of times, the way you write your resumes, maybe you wrote exactly what the job description was asking for, but in a different way. So ATS or the recruiter did not understand, because remember, recruiters not always come from a technical background. And even if they do, there would be some time passed after which they've come in a recruiter role. So they may have lost that skill set or understanding about the exact technical side of things. So if you complicate things further for them, either they are messed up in a lot of applications they look at every day, or it was difficult for them to make sense out of your application. But either ways, like, you know, that is one of the reasons your application did not get through.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
No problem. Rashmi.
Yeah, hi Nikita. Able to hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So, Nikita, wonderful presentation. So, I have certain questions around these skills. I am actually working as a business analyst, senior business analyst, and what I realized is I was already working as a TPM role, where business communications, a lot of other things, stakeholder alignment, and other things were there. So, thing is, how should I? If I, as a TPM, if I have to show my skill has only one technical skill, that is Power BI. And because TPM, I mean, it was more on soft skills of, business communications, raid logs, all those other kind of things were there. So what skills should I be mentioning in my resume?
Okay, okay. Great question. Uh, I'll take this question, although it's very, very specific to Rashmi. I want everyone to listen, because I see many candidates miss on this point. So, Rashmi, don't feel bad if I'm using you as an example to share what works and what does not work. But you mentioned at the start, you realize that you are doing a lot of TPM work. And then you are like, I only have like analysis skills. What are the other things that I can add to showcase that you are a good fit for a TPM position?
Yes.
Now you realize this actually contradicts to what you said versus what you actually have in your skill set bank. If you think you've done a TPM work, then you know what TPMs do. And then you know that you're exactly doing it or you're not doing it. So either you have the skills or you don't have the skills. Currently, what I feel is you're confused between both. Either you have the skills as a TPM, you're doing something as a TPM, but your company calls it as a BA role. Or you don't have the skills, but you're aspiring for a TPM role, and these are two different things. So if you are already doing what a TPM is supposed to do, then you just mention in your experience section what you are currently doing. In bracket, when you write like, your title, when you add like, let's say you're working with an organization called Swiggy, and in bracket you add business analyst, but you can also say, adding a comma, business analyst slash technical program management. Now this is very, very contradictory, because what a business analyst does versus what a technical program manager does are very, very different worlds. I would have still made sense out of it if you said you are like working as a business analyst and you are aspiring, or you think you're doing a data scientist role. But these are two different worlds. But what you can do here is you can always talk more about, like, add a slash, say business analyst slash project manager or a technical project manager. And then in the work experience section, you would talk specifically about the things only a TPM does. So if there are good chances that the hiring manager or a recruiter manually screens through your application, they would still consider your application for the next rounds. Or what you could do is, for the sake of actually bypassing the ATS, you can change from a business analyst to a technical program manager role when you talk about your position, and later on clearly clarify to the recruiter and the hiring manager that your job title says something but you're doing something. Because later on, if they see that there was a mismatch, that will be a costly thing for you. So try to balance that out. The other thing I usually recommend everyone, and I really, really want each one of you to do this activity, is if you have a dream job that you want to apply for. We are not doing this right now because that's not the outcome I'm looking from this session. But if you have a dream role, for example, your dream role is some position in Apple, and you're targeting a specific role in Apple despite what you're doing right now, do a skill set gap analysis. Look at what skills it takes to become what it is for a position at Apple. Understand what skill sets you currently have by listing those on a piece of paper, and then analyze what are the skill sets you need to gain. It's a simple mapping activity that you need to do to understand where you are and where you want to be, and then use the next couple of weeks, months, or years to gain those skill sets before you apply for that particular position. Does that answer your question, Rashmi? If I complicated it, please let me know. I can
Yeah.
maybe use other examples.
Yeah, it is good, Nikita. Just additional question on that. So should I remove my specific to business analyst skills from the resume and make it more aligned with TPM role?
Yes, that's exactly what you would be doing, because you don't want to confuse anyone who's shortlisting a candidate for a given role.
Perfect. Also, Nikita, two more questions I have. You have mentioned in the checklist that photo should not be there.
Yes.
So I think I missed that the reason why you mentioned not to use, if you have already. And GPA also. So let me be very transparent. My GPA is 6.94, which actually many people had earlier in the past recommended that I can aggregate and mention it as 7. So is that okay to use that, showcase that, or should I remove that?
Yeah, I'll answer those quickly because we have only 50 minutes left and lots to cover. We can always take these questions towards the end. Firstly, on your photograph, It doesn't matter how you look, how you appear. It really doesn't matter. What matters is the skill sets and the experience and the educational background you have that makes you a good fit for the candidate. Sometimes adding photos is also considered intimidating, and hence it's recommended to not add photos. Obviously, this is a professional work job, like your resume, not your matrimony biodata, that you need to be more physically also appealing to get someone's attention. The second thing is, when you asked about your GPA, I really don't think I have the exact answer here. Feel free to aggregate, not aggregate, because in India, every institution has different way of even calculating GPA. So I really don't have a strong recommendation here. You can always average it out. I don't think by point one it is going to really harm how you present your GP. So the next section is writing with impact, because your resume is your impact statement, and words you use in your resume, what qualities you talk about in your resumes, how you present yourself is really important. And hence, writing with impact is the most important section that I want to cover. Action words. You can literally screenshot the slide, and I really don't mind if you're doing that, because action words are something which is very, very important, and how you start your impact statements with. You say, led a particular project, built a particular application, designed a particular application, designed some communication plan, developed something, reduced the time of an application from X to Y, or you reduce the app size from X to Y, you increased something, increase the revenue, you launched something, you analyzed something, you delivered on something. These are the action words with which you start your impact statements. You would not say, I was responsible for this. It's a passive thing, and that really looks dull on your application. It looks weak, and hence use the action words that I have added on the screen. That is how every bullet point should be started with while you're writing your impact summary. And when I say impact summary, that's more about the work experience that you will be talking about in your resumes. The next thing is, this is Google's formula of writing anything, and I literally use this every single day in my work, is the XYZ formula. X stands for achievement, Y stands for measurement, and Z stands for action. So the way I usually write everything at Google is using this formula, where I say we achieved 90% latency by removing Y lines of code, or I could say achieve 90% latency, improving search load times by 3 seconds by removing certain lines of code. Now, this is a very hypothetical statement, not something from my actual work, but just to give you an example, this is how the XYZ thing stands for. X is the achievement, Y is measurement, and Z is actions. Now, Vanshika, for folks like you who are thinking, how do I quantify without experience? This is especially for folks like you. If it's an academic project, how large was the data set you worked with? How many people used the app you built? How many team members did you coordinate with? What was your model's accuracy, latency? Those are common things that you can talk about. And even if 10 people used your application, you can always talk about from a future scope. If 1 million people are coming to the application, it can be scaled until 1 million. Or if you think it's 10,000, say 10,000. But just say you built a system for 10,000 people, not necessarily you're faking and saying you built a system used by 10,000 people, and there is a difference between both. And this is how you quantify your experience without having experience. Numbers are everywhere. Just have a look. I am sure you will be able to quantify it as long as you bring that lens of quantifying it. And you folks are lucky enough, AI can help you if you are not able to do that by yourself. Now, I am giving you examples of 3 weak bullet points, and I want you to pick any one example from here and convert this into a strong bullet point. Like, take any of the bullet points that is there on the screen, and then rewrite this as a strong bullet point. How you would be rewriting this? For example, if you pick this one, responsible for managing the company's social media accounts and posting content regularly, state an example of what a strong bullet point would look like. Cool. Now, do you think this is making more sense when you're writing impact statements with the XYZ formula? You're quantifying it, you're breaking it down into bullet points, you are talking about measurable growth to the project, to the organization. So it shows you are more action driven, it shows you are accountable, you're talking about what you did as an individual, not how amazing your product was, your organization was, but you're talking about you, the amazing work you can do, and how accountable you are if you were put in a similar role like this.